Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here with a video review for you. There are lots of games out there that I get excited about, and I pretty much enjoy almost all the games I play. I know a lot of people actually ask me, you never do a negative review. I usually find something good in every game that I play, something that makes me have fun while I'm playing it, and that's kind of how I rate my games. I don't give them a number, I don't give them a thumbs up or thumbs down or anything like that. I just ask myself, did I have fun playing this game? And if I say yes, well, then it's a good game to me. That's kind of the way I go. But there are games, obviously, that I get more excited about, and there's because of the fact that maybe they have a certain designer I like, or perhaps the artwork or the minis in the game are really interesting. Or sometimes it's just flat out the theme of the game. And the game that I'm reviewing today is called Sentinels of the Multiverse Tactics. I forget the exact name of it, it's not on the top of my head right now, but Sentinels of the Multiverse, I'm sure a lot of you, if you follow board games and you know of them and know of the designer board games, you know that Sentinels of the Multiverse is a cooperative game that is superhero themed. And I have been meaning to do a review of Sentinels of the Multiverse for about ever. And I have owed the designer Chris a review of that for about ever. And it is, in my opinion, I've said this in lots of podcasts, said this in lots of my videos, that in my opinion, I have yet to find a cooperative game that is better than that game. Now, that doesn't say there are cooperative games that I've reviewed, and you've seen those reviews, that says that those weren't any good or anything like that. I mean, it's just, for me, and for me alone, I guess, not me alone, because a lot of people have shared my viewpoint here, Sentinels Multiverse feels like a cooperative game should. Each person actually has a role and has a power and has an ability. It's a little mathy, and I don't mind that, so I think that's one of the things people detract a little bit from it. But it has a really, really good feel, and it actually feels like you're being a superhero, and you feel like you're part of that superhero team, and that's kind of the reason why I really enjoyed that game. So, all that being said, and this isn't a review of the cooperative game, but I strongly suggest you go out and take a look at some reviews of that, or just go and take a look at it at your local gaming store and see if it's something you'd like. But what this review is about kind of like this game that's coming out by them. It's currently in Kickstarter. It's got just a few days left, and so you can get in on it right now. But this is a game that people have been begging them to do for a long time. This is a game of actual, instead of having cards and putting down, this is a game of taking a figure and putting it on a map and moving that figure around the map and going toe-to-toe with other villains and other superheroes even, because the game is very free form. It has different scenarios you can do, but if you want, you can just have skirmishes between, good guys. Good guys can fight. How many times have you read a comic book and it's just like, the good guy doesn't realize the other good guy isn't a villain, and so they start fighting for no reason. You've read that in like countless comic books, if you've read comic books like I have. And I was really excited about this. I got to see a quick demo of it, literally bare bones quick demo, pieces of paper at Gen Con last year. And if you look up my friend Joel Eddy's Watch It Played, not Watch It Played, that's Rodney, he's good too, but if you look up my good friend Joel Eddy's drive-through review, he actually has a preview video of the exact same thing that I got to demo in Gen Con, so you might want to check that out. But what this is that it's, there's so many games that have tried to be superhero themed, and it seems like people have just shied away from the actual board and the figures and the tactics and the fighting, and it just seems like it was always easier for people to just come out with card games. I mean, Marvel Legendary is a good game, but it doesn't really feel like I'm playing superheroes. It plays like I'm playing another deck builder. The same thing with DC Heroes, a game that I didn't really like that much. There you go. Games I don't like. But it's one of those things where there's been a few forays into it. And I know there's a few other games that have recently gone through Kickstarter that people have gotten behind. The names aren't coming to my head right at this moment, but take that Marvel Heroes game that came out many years ago. It's out of print now, and there's a reason why it's out of print. It just wasn't a very good game, and it's one of those things where I've been waiting for this genre to give me my awesome little superhero tactics game. I played the Marvel Heroes role-playing game back in the day, and that when I was younger, obviously, because that game hasn't been in print forever. But that was kind of like a board game as far as the combat was, because you moved your little figures on those big giant maps, if you know what I'm talking about, and like different abilities would do different damages to people, and you could knock people down and throw people or throw stuff, or like there was ranges and things like that, and then it added this role-playing element onto it as well. But really it didn't have a lot of role-playing to it. It was just because how do you role-play when you're Spider-Man? Well, I'm Spider-Man, so now I gotta be Spider-Man. So it really was kind of a tactics game, and the same thing goes for like Marvel HeroClix and things like the HeroClix games that are out. Those are very good tactics games, but they're collectible. You gotta buy all those boosters and everything like that. So I've been wanting a game like this to come out forever. And so by begging and pleading and flattery, I was able to get Chris to send me his demo copy that he recently just had at PAX East, and he sent that to me, and so I got to play. I've been playing this over the last couple of days. I've been playing Sentinel's Unlimited Tactics for the last few days. My friends and I have been having a blast, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to play, and then I'm going to tell you exactly why I think this game is awesome, why I finally have that game that I've been waiting for what seems like forever, and why I think you, if you are a fan of superheroes, if you're a fan of like just straight up roll a bunch of dice and beat the tar out of each other games, you need to own this sucker. So anyway, how to play. Or just, that's the best thing about this, is like, wait till you see the rules. They're so easy, they're so simple, but wait till you see these, and then I'm going to tell you exactly why I think you need to own this game. Alright. This is the prototype version of Sentinel's Tactics that I am lucky enough to have and being able to play right now. I'm just going to show you just the core rules of the game. I'm not going to go too in-depth with everything. I just want to make sure you know exactly how the combat takes place, because this is a tactics game. This is a game of superhero combat. I've set up just a couple of like city streets, as far as this is, and I think... And as always, I should say, this is a prototype, so the stuff you see in front of you isn't necessarily what the game is going to look like. I do know that they're going with this tile structure, obviously, and I do know that they are going to have some awesome-looking miniatures that you'll be able to use when you play the game. For me, right now, I just have these like tokens. Here's Ambuscade, or Ambuscade, we argue how to pronounce that, and of course my favorite hero, Absolute Zero. And this is just going to be I'm going to show you a couple of rounds of combat between the two of them. On one side of these, you have Megalopolis. Just these are more of the same tiles, and you can you can use as many or as few tiles as you want. There are campaigns that you can do, but you can just set up little skirmish fights like this. And on the back is actually wilderness, and this is, I forget the name of it, but the Savage World type dinosaurs and what have you. That one setting, I can't think of the name of it to save my life at this moment, but regardless. I just set this up like between these two heroes. You get a ton of these, all the classics, that you're expecting to see in the game. I have all of these, but I chose these two because they match up pretty well, and they're pretty straightforward as far as their powers and what they do. Just showing you quickly so you can see what the character sheet says. You have Absolute Zero here. This is their health. As you take damage, you're supposed to start with the health. They say start with the health tokens on your health bar and take one off as you take damage. I always like adding. I like doing that more. But two actions. Those are obviously the actions you can do in your turn. What your defense is, how many dice you're going to roll for defense. In this case, it's 3. And movement, the 2 and the arrow pointing up. When you roll your movement, you roll that many dice as it tells you, and then in this case you take the highest roll that you make. Sometimes there'll be like for particularly slow heroes, it'll be like an arrow pointing down. For fast heroes, you'll get more dice. You don't get like 3 dice worth of movement, you just always take the highest one. And some heroes actually have an arrow that points in the middle, so they roll 3 dice, whatever their middle die is, they have to take that one. So it's just things like that. And of course there's some special powers, innate powers. These are the ones you don't have to use your power cards for. In this case, Absolute Zero. Range for all of Absolute Zero's attacks is checked as being too closer. Absolute Zero may have up to 3 power cards in play. Normally you can only have 2. And he has this little fist there, means that this costs an action to do it. But he has his Cold Snap power. He can, just firing off an Icy Blast. And the 4 over here means he rolls 4 dice when he makes the attack. And you can see that these numbers, these 1, 4, and 5, and 6 are in red, meaning the die rolls of that have a chance of hitting and doing damage. You may have to make sure you meet the range requirement, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And also you can see the 2 and 3 are white. Any rolls of 2 or 3 are automatic misses. So there you go. And we'll take a quick look at Ambuscade or Ambuscade. Same thing, 2, 3, 2, same health. He has a melee combat knife. You can see, all but a 6 is a hit. And a Focus Hunter, whenever Ambuscade takes an aim action, he gains 1 attack plus 1 token. Attack plus 1 and my defense 1 and all these little tokens, you can see here's like an attack plus 1 token. When you have these attack plus 1 tokens, they are not like adding 1 to the die roll. They are just giving you an extra die. And, and by the same definition, anything with a -1 is just a minus 1 less die that you get to use, with a minimum of 1. You always get at least 1 die. You have turn order tokens. When you take your turn, you flip them over, and then as soon as you're done, you turn them back over when the new round starts. In some scenarios, like the Baron Blade scenarios, like Baron Blade is just one guy against multiple heroes, and so to help him out, he actually gets to go on turn 1 and turn 3, and the heroes go on to turn 2 and 4 and things like that. So he gets multiple turns whenever the heroes are only getting 1. But in this case, since it's just a skirmish, they're just going to go, one person goes, then one person goes, and so on and so forth like that. You start off with 2 power cards in place. You've picked your powers. This isn't like a deck building game. You have all of your powers available to you. You get to pick which ones you start with, and then you also get to add, like in the case of Absolute Zero, who can have 3 cards out, he can add another card later as he's playing. And then Ambuscade only can have 2 in place, but he just, during the power-up phase, and I'll explain that in a moment, you're able to take one and play a new power, and then just take the other power card and put it back in your hand, and to be used later. So there's some decision making and stuff like that, and you can obviously in certain situations, certain powers are going to be more powerful and better for you, and so you can change those around as you play the game. Really simply, before you start and do anything, both you have to roll your movement. Normally you roll your movement at the end of a turn, so your opponent can see what your movement is going to be for the next turn. But in this case, since you're starting, both you will. So Absolute Zero gets a 2 and a 3, so he takes the highest one, so he's going to have a movement of 3. And Ambuscade rolls, and he got a 3 and a 6, so he's going to have a movement of 6 in comparison. So we know now what I took the 2, I should have left the 3, there you go. So we know now what each person's movement is going to be to start off the first round of the game. Now, it might be tough to see, but over here you can see that in some of these spots you can see there's these little dots on these areas. That's the level of the spot. How tall so these buildings, this building right here is level 4. The streets are level 1. When you move, and when you use your movement as an action, you can move, he can go 3. I can stay on the road and just go 1, 2, 3 like that. Now, if I wanted to climb a building, and say I wanted to climb up this building with a level 3, the spot is 1, and then you add, for every level above the level you're at, you add that movement as well. So with my 3 movement, this would be 1. This is a level 3 versus my level 1. So that'd be 1 and 2. So that all 3 movement would be for him to for Absolute Zero to move on top of that building. So, you can see where, and then some players actually have like flight, and they can like totally avoid any of those restrictions. But the dots, you just compare the number of dots to the spot that you're going to, and any difference adds to the amount of movement you have to do, including going down, from climbing down from the top of the building down to the ground. Same thing. You have to add that together. The other actions that you can do, besides using the actual abilities that have these little fist icons next to them, as I said, you can move, and also you can do an action called a sprint. And the sprint allows you just to move 2 spaces on the board, and regardless of the level of the buildings. And you can do a sprint and a move, but you can't do 2 sprints, you can't do 2 moves. And the other 2 actions you can do are taking an aim, which means you just take an aim token, or taking a dodge and taking a dodge token. And I'll explain how aim and dodge tokens work. But the very first thing you do in your turn is you do a power-up phase, meaning that if you want to replace some of the powers that you have and replace it with one in your deck, you can do so. In the case of Absolute Zero, because he gets to have 3 powers, I can go through that power, the power that he has, and I'm going to take this Coolant Blast ability. It basically, as he takes damage, he can do more damage. And so we'll go ahead and place that. And then now he's got his 3 powers. That's the power phase. The second phase of a turn is called the Surge phase. Unlike that really horrible soda, the Surge phase is where certain things, depending on like cards and things that are affecting your hero, like you'll have to like either maybe take some damage or roll against the possibility of taking damage, things like that. Also, it's important to note during a Surge phase, any aim or dodge tokens that you haven't used, you have to discard. So this is the Surge phase is when certain effects might take place to your hero or villain as it is, and you have to do those things, or also, like I said, you have to get rid of tokens that you may not have used. So the next step is called go time, and that's when you actually get to start. These are the actual things. It's power up, surge, and now you're in go time. And on go time, what you do is you're going to start moving and taking your actions and doing what you want to do. And your number of actions determined by the hero. So as you can see, Absolute Zero has 2 actions. So what he can do is he sees that he's got a 6 move, and so he's going to be able to get kind of close to him. And so what Absolute Zero is, he's going to go ahead and take his full movement. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, and he's going to move to this spot. And he knows that Ambuscade can get close to him, and he can actually maybe take a shot at him. But you have to, in order to be able to take a shot, you have to be able to draw a line from the hex that you're in and draw a line to the hex that your opponent is in. And you have to make sure that you have a line of sight. And so you can kind of, like, if you have a straight edge, you can do it and everything like that. But you see there's some buildings in the way. There's this big tall building right here that's in the way, and so that was preventing him. And there's a big tall building right here, and so I can't really draw a line. Maybe, it's like if I had a straight edge, I could probably tell. Hold on, let me see if I can find a little. Here we go. So maybe we can draw a line from here, from the edge of this one. I actually can. I can squeeze by because it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So if I wanted to, I could actually take a kind of a pot shot. You know what? I'm going to do it because the fact that Absolute Zero reduces range by 2 because of his focused apertures. So we're gonna go. Yeah, we can draw a line. So we count the range and we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a 6 ranged for him to be able to hit Ambuscade. But remember, we reduced the range by 2. Now if Ambuscade, oh wait a minute, I forgot, he's actually on a level 2 building, so that actually increases the range by 1. So it would be a 7. Well, let's take a shot anyway. We'll reduce that by 2, so it's a 5. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look, and the Cold Snap ability, his attack does 4. So we're going to take 4 attack dice, like so. And we're going to have to make sure that we actually get enough range to be able to do what we want to do. And that means that these dice have to at least be a 5 to be considered a hit. Anything of 5 or 6, well, and that's how you determine range. So if he was 6 spaces away, I'd have to roll 6s regardless to anything. If he was 7 spaces away, I'd have no shot of hitting him whatsoever. So, and normally, if it wasn't for the fact that he has this focused aperture ability, I wouldn't be able to, because he would be 7 spaces away. So we're going to take these, we're going to roll them, we're going to see what happens. And I got lucky, actually, because I got 2 5s. Now, the thing about it, before you do anything, the first thing you do after you see your roll is you remove anything that may have been an automatic miss. A 2 is an automatic miss, so we get rid of that one. That has no chance of hitting. And then you look at everything that you have. That's important because if you use an aim token, and you have to use the aim token before you roll the dice, you get to change all of the dice to the highest roll, except for the ones that are automatic misses. So if I had used an aim token, I would have had 3 5s. And I could have adjusted. But I didn't have an aim token, so we'll go ahead and we got 2 successes. So now Ambuscade has to defend against that. And so he takes 3 dice. And now this is a situation where if he had a dodge token, he could spend that. And it does the same thing that an aim token does. It raises everything you roll to that highest roll that you have. So we're going to roll. We're going to see if I can get some 5s, because this is just like, for lack of a better term, this is just like playing Risk. You have to roll the same number or higher to defend yourself. So we'll go ahead, 3 dice, try to get 2 5s for Ambuscade here. And I didn't get a single one. Look at that. So we take 2 points of damage. And normally when you're playing a skirmish, you're playing to number of falls, because when you get knocked out or incapacitated, you don't die. You just lose all the powers that you have. You lose your movement dice. You lose everything, and then you get to go through your deck and give yourself 1 power, and then you get to start up again. This isn't a game of like bloody combat. You're just getting knocked out or incapacitated. So there is a little bit of a detriment to being, not having all your health taken away, but you're not knocked out of the game, so to speak. But there's an interesting thing. He has this approaching 0 ability that I put on. It says, when absolute 0 deals damage to a target, reduce that target's move by 1 for each point of damage dealt. Well, I did 2 points of damage. So he has a 6 movement, but now we get to lower that down to 4 because of that ability of approaching 0. So we've done our actions. We did our 2 actions. Now we do the last bit of your turn, which is to be continued, just like in comics, to be continued. And to be continued, sometimes there'll be certain things that'll happen because of the effects that are going on the board. If you're ever in a space that is a trap or something that could possibly hurt you, like a hazard space is what it's called, Absolute 0 can put these ice structures up. And if you move through these, you can take damage. And if you stay in them, if you're in one of those spots during a to be continued phase, you can possibly take damage. So that's one of the things that happens to be continued. Lots of other powers and abilities do trigger and to be continued. Look at Ambuscade's ability. If he can power up. If Ambuscade is not on the board, place him in an unoccupied space and return this card to your hand. To be continued, remove Ambuscade from the board. While not on the board, he is not a target and cannot take action. So this cloaking device is pretty powerful. And these are just innate abilities. These are they just happen all the time. He doesn't take an action to do so. So, and remember this just says power up and to be continued. It's during those phases that those things happen. So, excuse me. So we've done 2 damage to him. So what we can do is, and also, to make sure that, this, you have to actually return this card to your hand. So you can't just obviously just keep this up and keep doing it or whatever. So in this phase, what we're going to do is that Ambuscade is going to be able to do some smash and grab, because he knows he's going to be able to go and cloak and this round. So what he wants to do is he wants to do some damage to Absolute 0, and then he gets to vanish, and Absolute 0 can't really do anything to him. He can just kind of reset himself and figure out what he wants to do, and then we go on to the next turn. So let's get him close, let's do some good damage, and then let's get out of there. And so we do have this custom hand cannon that says if at least one die of this attack is unblocked, deal a target attack 1 additional damage. And you'll notice that it has effect on 3, 4, 5, or 6. 4 dice. So let's get to a range of 3, because we don't have to get any closer than that. Well, actually, it really doesn't matter. But all we have to do is get within a range of 3 in our speed of 4. That's easy enough because we have these single spaces right there. We don't have to climb up on anything. We don't have to do anything like that. Now, it should be mentioned that sprint works really well sometimes when you roll really poor movement because it doesn't affect any kind of it doesn't have any effect on the height of the spaces that you're moving through. So if I had rolled poor movement and wanted to use my sprint, it's a way you can get over buildings really easily because you can just move 2 spaces anywhere you want. But in this case, we don't have to do that. And remember, you can use sprint and move at the same turn if you want to use that as both your actions. But anyway, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and so we're 2 away. We probably didn't have to get that close. We could have stopped there if we wanted to, but in this case, we know the cloaking device is going to go into effect, and so we don't have to worry about that. And so we're going to take 4 dice, and with these 4 attacks and the custom hand cannon, we're going to roll these 4, and we're going to know 1s and 2s are automatic misses. Everything else we know because we're a range of 2. We just need to roll 3 or higher, and all those will be hits. So we'll see what happens. Bad luck. We got 2 2s. Now normally it is a range of 2, as you can see, but like I said, 2s are automatic misses because they're in the white there. So those are not good. So, but we did get 2 hits, and so maybe if we can get a point of damage, we can do an extra point of damage, and we'll see what happens. So Absolute Zero's defense is 3. We'll roll this. And Absolute Zero gets lucky. He gets a 6 and a 5, so we compare the 5. We can play the. So, he rushes up, shoots him. Absolute Zero puts up an ice wall. Try again, villain. And then, so now if you're playing him, you're like, my luck. And then so we're gonna go ahead. And, we will have, after our actions, because we didn't have anything that happened in the surge, we didn't want to change anything in our power-up turn, because we wanted to leave these in place. So, it is the to be continued. We remove him from the board, so he can't be attacked, and he can't be a target, and he cannot take any actions at this point. And so then we would go back to turn order 1, and now it is Absolute Zero's turn, and he can try to decide if he wants to replace one of the powers that he has. Maybe if he had taken damage, you can put this power out, like the Cryo Inducer. Roll 4 dice. You recover a health for each die that rolls a 5 or 6. Things like that. Perhaps on Ambuscade's next turn, he might want to take perhaps maybe some rigged explosives so he can set some traps to affect him. Maybe if he took some damage, you can use this quick stim patch. It's a one-shot thing, meaning that after you've used it, you discard it, you can't use it again, and then it regains up to 3 health, things like that. So you have this deck of cards you can use to kind of use the things that you think will be helpful, and you can change your tactics as you play the game. So after he's just going to stay there, so to speak, and maybe he'll just both take an aim, he'll take a dodge, so he knows that he's going to get attacked, so he's going to maybe... Oh, and I forgot to mention, at the end of during your to be continued, you reroll your movement. So I should have done this. That was horrible. So Absolute Zero would have a 2 movement, and then also Ambuscade in his, he got 6. So he's going to be able to move fast. So maybe as the one action, we'll use a sprint for him, and so you can go climb up to this level 4 right there. He's just going to go, okay, I'm up high. What are you going to do? At least you can't be right next to me now or something like that. So then when Ambuscade comes back during his power-up phase, power-up, if Ambuscade is not on the board, place him in an unoccupied space, return this card to your hand. So we turn that card back to our hand, and then we can put him in any unoccupied space. And so let's go ahead and we'll put him right here, because it's on a level here. So cloaking device, bam, he shows up. He's across this parking lot, and he's on a level 3. And so this will be interesting, because it's 1, 2, but it is a level of difference, so it actually is 3, because the dots actually matter to the range as well. So we'll try this again. And Ambuscade will try his 4 dice with his custom hand cannon. And much better, much better. We go 3, 6. So we've got a 6, 6, a 5, and a 3. This is a range of 3. Anything a 3, 4, 5, or 6 is, as I said before, are all successes. So we've got 4 possible damage coming in, and if all and +1 if any of them don't get blocked. Well, obviously Absolute Zero is going to use his dodge. Because you have to spend it before you roll. You can't wait until you roll and see what happens. So we're going to roll, and we're going to hope we get a 6, one of these 6, so we can block 3 of the damage. So let's see what we get. We got 1 6, but so this is pretty cool. So we can change all of these to a 6 because we use that dodge ability. And so we compare again, classic, risk, and so 6 blocks a 6, 6 blocks a 6, 6 blocks the 5, but the 3 is left over, and the 3 is still good. And so we're going to take a point of damage, and because the hand cannon does an extra point of damage if you don't block at all, he takes 2 points of damage. And now we're well under our way for our big battle here in Megalopolis between Absolute Zero and Ambuscade. And, that's basically how you play. Me explaining those rules to you is like, and if you turn around and play this, it's like, everything after you played it a turn or two, it's really, really simple. It's really, really intuitive, and the action is fast. It's frenetic, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. And like you heard me, it's like when you finally blasted him. I'm sure that whoever has played it's like, yeah, there. It's like, I finally got you, cocky son of a, and things like that. You're gonna find yourself cheering. You're gonna find yourself talking in your evil villain voice or your cocky hero voice. And it's just a game that kind of grips you with its theme, and the mechanics don't get in the way of you having a good time. But let me talk about more like that and more about this game when my conclusion. Hey Chris, I got your prototype. Oh, I hope I don't drop any of these. Anyway, all right, there you go. That's how you play the game, and like I said, super simple, right? I mean, there's really not that much to it, and that's what I love. You're not bogged down in a bunch of rules like, okay, how far away am I? Did I meet you? Did I reach you? Everything like that. It's just straight up, quick, fast turns are over and done with, and that's what comic book games should be. Nobody ever in a comic book, unless they're having some soul searching issue, the action is non-stop, and nobody stops and sits there, what am I gonna do? It's like I fly off and I'm gonna shoot my laser beams at things, and I'm gonna blow up robots, and I'm gonna grab you and I'm gonna throw you into the side of a building and things like that. That's what comic book action is. And so that's one of the things I love about this game, is that the action is constant, and it's always rolling and rolling and rolling. Maybe you take a few seconds to figure out what power you're going to take and replace on your character, but other than that, the game is just fast, it's frenetic, and it's exactly the action and what's contained within it is exactly what I'm looking for, and I hope possibly what you're looking for as well, as far as the game is concerned. Now, obviously, this is the Sentinels of the Multiverse world, right? So you're not having your iconic heroes, but I'm betting that a lot of you have played Sentinels of the Multiverse, and as those games have progressed, and as those games have kind of added new heroes, new villains, new expansions, or anything like that, you've kind of felt this developing story. And if I don't know about you, but I mean for me, my favorite character to play is Absolute Zero, and I've just kind of felt that character kind of change and alter. I've just always dug his powers, and like kind of like the fact that just like his weird backstory of like he really isn't a hero. He just kind of got screwed into having these powers, and so he has to be a hero. And so you're not having an iconic moment, I guess, in a lot of ways, because you're not playing with like those heroes that you've grown up with and the heroes in the movies and everything like that. But I mean that's fine. It doesn't bother me. I don't need to like know that this big giant bruising guy is like kind of like the Hulk or something like that. I don't need to know that Legacy is basically Superman kind of thing. And the thing is that for me and my group, we like literally started playing, and one guy took Baron Blade, and we are actually playing the scenario. There's scenarios. I just showed you like a quick little tactics, like just skirmish. I didn't show you but there's campaigns where you actually have like Baron Blade, who's a villain, has to make it to like these little power supplies on the map, and he has to like tap into them to gain power. Then like if he succeeds at that, you go on to the next scenario, which is now he's got this power and he has to try and do something else. Then you go to another one and so forth. And there's going to be those in the game. You don't have to just be beating each other up, just having a fight in downtown Megalopolis, if you will. You can like have a nice little story. But it was really interesting for me when my buddy Scott, who had never played any of the Sentinels games, he took Baron Blade. I told him this is an evil guy, he's kind of like Mr. Technology, Mr. like all these like different, and he's just this megalomania guy. And within like 2 turns, he had embodied this evil Dr. Doom-esque mentality, and he was like, away from me, heroes, you foolish mortals, and he was just playing the game, and he had totally, and then we fed off of that, the rest of us, and we were like, take this, villain, and we started actually like having a lot of fun beyond the dice and beyond moving the people around, and I noticed that like as we played it more and more, we kept doing that, and I think, I don't know what it was. I mean, I kind of visited that a little bit when I played the card game, but I mean, there's something to be said about moving a person around a map and being able to put yourself into that spot, and you can see that, because like I read comics forever, and I still do kind of, but now this has kind of taken over my hobby life. I have crates upon crates upon crates of graphic novels in my house that I guess I'm waiting for a new edition that I can put those up on the wall. And but the thing is that this game speaks to that comic book nerd of me, that I was a hardcore comic book guy for decades, and I still am. I still follow stuff. I still, when I'm at my local game store, I still pick up comics off the shelf and read through them, and kind of revisit my old haunts, if you will. But everything about this game is exactly what I wanted from a superhero tactics game. It has a quick and simple rule set, so the game doesn't ever bog down. It is extremely well balanced, as a host of different characters. It looks beautiful. It inspires me to live out the game that I'm playing, acting it out as I play. And it doesn't take forever. You can play a skirmish in a half an hour. You can play through that campaign I was mentioning in a little over an hour. It doesn't take long. You could set this up and play it in minutes, and it's exactly what I want. And I hope that I've impressed upon you that it is probably maybe exactly what you want as well, if you're looking to play a wonderful superhero-themed board game. So, there you go. Sentinels of the Multiverse, I think it's Blood and Flame. I'm thinking that's what it is with tactics. Yeah, you'll see. If you're watching this video, you can see the title right now. So, If you have any questions, any ideas, anything at all you want to ask me, please do so, and I'll answer those to the best of my ability. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and you have an awesome day. Alright, goodbye now.